She's still struggling with her shot. Look, let us understand something. She's the best point guard in the league. All right? She is the best point guard in the league. We see those passes and her decision making. Some of those cross court passes she makes to her teammates for baskets are extraordinary. I mean, seriously. And I'm not sure there's a deadlier combo than Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark when they're working the two-man game.
The Indiana Fever franchise encounters significant scrutiny after their commanding 99-82 win against the Atlanta Dream, a game that revealed both promising strategies and ongoing management difficulties. This decisive victory illustrated the team's capabilities when Clark receives greater control over offensive operations, indicating that tactical modifications might unleash the squad's complete capacity. Throughout the latter portion of the Atlanta matchup, the coaching team seemed to provide Clark with enhanced freedom in creating scoring chances and distributing the basketball. This strategic transformation aligned with a remarkable performance surge that dominated a resilient Dream team. The win highlighted Clark's outstanding ability to read the court and deliver passes, especially her sideline-to-sideline distributions that generated excellent shooting chances for her colleagues.
Into the paint, you know? So, anyway, I have said before, and I will say it again, Stephanie White, Amber Cox, Kelly Krauskopf, the Indiana Fever president, they were not ready. Now, Christine Brennan in her book confirmed the WNBA and the Indiana Fever did not realize what they were about to get themselves into with drafting Caitlin.
The collaboration between Clark and Aaliyah Boston became particularly productive when permitted to evolve organically through dual-player interactions near the basket. These moments revealed the kind of offensive chemistry that might establish a winning team culture going ahead. Clark's facilitation skills have positioned her as potentially the league's top floor general, with judgment capabilities that repeatedly generate benefits for her squad. Nevertheless, franchise management remains challenged by the extraordinary focus and examination that accompanies Clark's participation. Current information confirms that both the WNBA and Indiana Fever miscalculated the scale of fame and press coverage that would accompany Clark's professional entrance. This preparation gap has generated continuous difficulties for administrative staff inexperienced with daily national media focus.
Clark, because the popularity they weren't prepared for and didn't see coming, which is amazing. All right? And with that comes the daily scrutiny. All right? Now, look, let me name some folks here. Colin Cowherd and the Herd, Pat McAfee, Bill Simmons, Dan Patrick, ESPN First Take,
leading sports journalism organizations, including major television shows and audio programs, now routinely examine Indiana Fever activities with the same vigor usually allocated to premier NBA organizations or NFL clubs. This coverage level brings persistent evaluation and critique that surpasses anything previously witnessed within the WNBA environment. The increased examination has seemingly overwhelmed specific franchise personnel, with information suggesting that team president Kelly Krauskopf recently removed her social media presence after experiencing harsh supporter criticism. This reaction creates serious concerns about leadership readiness for directing a franchise functioning under such concentrated public review.
Okay, Stephen A. Smith, these are the media entities that talk Lakers and LeBron, Cowboys, Chiefs, Dodgers, Yankees, Celtics, Knicks. These are the entities that talk about the biggest names and brands in the sport. There's a reason why I always see, my God.
The social media retreat presents troubling appearances for an organization seeking to leverage extraordinary fan involvement and media focus. Successful leadership during prominent situations demands preserving communication pathways and showing strength under pressure instead of withdrawing from public conversation. Professional analysts recommend the organization would gain from seasoned leadership experienced with directing high-visibility sports operations. Possible nominees referenced include former NBA figures who comprehend the requirements of functioning under persistent media examination and supporter demands.
Can they quit talking about the Cowboys? My God, can they quit talking about LeBron and the Lakers? my God, quit talking about the Yankees. No, they're not going to, because those grab the ratings. Why talk about anybody that doesn't get ratings? I got a YouTube channel. I'm not talking about a some bitch that don't get me views. I promise you, I'm not doing it, because why waste my time? I make videos.
Strategic worries extend past social media oversight to core basketball ideology and player deployment. The Atlanta victory happened partially through decreased court time for specific players whose rhythm and approach clash with Clark's ideal functioning condition. Particularly slower tempo participants seem to restrict the team's capacity to maximize Clark's transition facilitation and fast break generation skills. The difference between deliberate half-court offense and quick-pace styles that highlight Clark's distinctive abilities continues generating tactical challenges. When permitted to function with enhanced speed and independence, the team shows considerably improved offensive productivity and excitement value that matches wider organizational marketing objectives.
That people want to watch, that people want to consume. Now, with that comes what? Daily objective criticism and scrutiny, unlike anything the WNBA has ever experienced. That means with every ebb and flow of the season and every single game, day in and day out, the heat will be on the Indiana Fever leadership.
Present coaching methods sometimes stress
every day. And now we've got the Indiana Fever president that has deactivated her Twitter account. I cannot believe this. It's one of the worst looks ever in the history of social media sports fandom franchises.
The organizational reaction to increasing pressure will probably determine extended success in handling the distinctive situations surrounding Clark's professional journey. Leadership must show ability for managing daily examination while making strategic choices that enhance court performance and supporter involvement. The present circumstances demand sophisticated comprehension of contemporary sports promotion, media connections, and high-performance team oversight. Organizations unprepared for this attention level risk wasting historic chances for expansion and achievement within professional women's basketball.
I'm going to be real. If you can't handle the heat that came out because of that video involving where you're talking about trying to grow the brand, blah, 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 I'm sure she got tagged 100,000 times yesterday. I mean, I don't know. But if you can't handle that, you're not the person for the job. And that's why I've said over and over, you get Mark Jackson, get Larry Bird, Mike Krzyzewski, get.
Looking ahead, the Fever's capacity to modify leadership methods and strategic philosophies will establish whether they can transform the extraordinary focus surrounding their franchise into lasting competitive and business success. The Indiana Fever confront a substantial roster difficulty that demands immediate coaching action to optimize team productivity. The core problem revolves around clashing player functions and their effect on complete team harmony and output.
From over 7 rebounds to barely 6 rebounds. We go from nearly 2 assists per game, don't even average 1 assist per game. Natasha Howard plays best when Caitlin Clark is out with injury. The Indiana Fever play best when Caitlin Clark has the ball in her hands, she's making decisions, she's playing with pace, she's being aggressive, and Natasha Howard is on the bench. You hear the difference in sacrifice right there? Natasha Howard plays best without Caitlin Clark, but
Data examination shows a distinct trend concerning Natasha Howard's contribution relationship with Clark's involvement. Throughout Clark's injury period, Howard maintained 12.7 points, 7.1 rebounds, and 1.4 assists nightly, showing solid individual output when operating as a featured choice. Yet these figures decrease considerably when Clark rejoins the rotation, falling to 10 points, approximately 6 rebounds, and under 1 assist nightly. This statistical difference highlights a basic roster building issue. Howard functions best when serving as a highlighted offensive contributor, while the team reaches maximum performance when Clark manages primary ball handling duties. These conflicting requirements generate an unsolvable conflict that demands strategic resolution.
Natasha Howard plays best without Caitlin Clark, but with the team to play best, they need Caitlin Clark. So for Natasha to be propped up, the team must sacrifice, and for the team to be propped up, Natasha must sacrifice. It's an easy decision that the coach needs to make. But how is the coach going to make the decision, and what's the decisions that she has available to her? She can change up the starting lineup. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think I would do that either. What I would do, well,
the coaching group confronts multiple potential answers to tackle this roster imbalance. Modifying the starting formation represents one choice, though this method carries considerable political and personality management complications. A more realistic answer involves keeping current starting arrangements while decreasing Howard's total minutes and adjusting her function within offensive schemes. Establishing strategic replacement patterns could tackle these issues while maintaining organizational peace. Rather than permitting Howard to compete 7 or 8 minutes each quarter automatically, coaches might restrict her initial period to 5 minutes before introducing participants whose abilities complement Clark more successfully.
What I would do, well, I wouldn't do that in the reality that we are currently living, right? You got to manage egos. There are things that go into that. What I would do, I would keep the starting lineup, but I would just pull Natasha Howard out earlier. Just because she's in the starting lineup doesn't mean she needs to play 7 minutes in the first quarter. Doesn't mean she needs to play 8 minutes in the first quarter. Doesn't mean we need to wait for her to get into foul trouble to pull her. We can play her first 5 minutes in the first quarter.
Formations including Lexi Hull, Aaliyah Boston, Aria McDonald, Sophie Cunningham, and Clark show superior chemistry and output, especially during critical fourth quarter periods when games are determined. These combinations should gain increased court time based on their demonstrated effectiveness. Film study shows specific moments where Howard's judgment directly opposes ideal team basketball concepts. With 35 seconds left in a first half, standard procedure recommends either passing directly to Clark for speed-oriented possession or rapidly distributing to her for 2-for-1 scoring chances. Instead, Howard overlooked Clark's availability and used valuable clock time with careful, methodical progression.
We can play her first 5 minutes in the first quarter. Okay, boom, out you go. In comes Dantas, or in comes Timpson. We see lineups with Damaris Dantas and Aaliyah Boston and Aria McDonald and Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark more often. The same lineup that played a majority of that fourth quarter as we were extending our lead further. We minimize her minutes from 20 to 25 minutes per game. We don't feel
This trend continued during late third quarter scenarios, where Howard started full court possessions with inadequate time remaining, eventually forcing hurried choices rather than developing quality scoring chances. Her following passes to Clark happened too late in shot clock scenarios to create effective offensive schemes. Extra worries develop concerning pick setting and movement without the ball. When Clark needs help generating shooting room, teammates often prioritize their individual scoring chances over establishing solid picks. Howard's habit to abandon picks early rather than creating firm contact demonstrates this selfish method that damages team offensive rhythm.
Game. We don't feel inclined to put her in just because she's a vet. If she's having a good game, she has a hot hand, leave her in there. But if we're seeing things that take away from the offense, that take away from the flow, that's not good. And yesterday we saw a lot of that. Yesterday, we saw a lot of that.
A 26-point first half for Jordan Canada.
This is Natasha Howard blatantly looking off Caitlin Clark.
These behavioral trends continue because coaching response has been inadequate to fix them. When troublesome judgment receives no repercussions, participants naturally keep making decisions that emphasize individual numbers over team achievement. The clear difference between first half and second half output shows the influence of correct player deployment. Team offensive productivity improved significantly when Clark gained enhanced control over speed and judgment, producing 59 second half points and total output of 99 points, the greatest team score in substantial time.
This is Natasha Howard blatantly looking off Caitlin Clark. Look, now here we go. Two things right here. There's 35 seconds left in the first half. So we can approach this two ways. One, Oh, you guys can't even see the time. Forbid me. Pardon me. Apologize. There's 35 seconds left in the first half. Two ways we can go about this. One, we inbound it straight to Caitlin Clark. She pushes the pace, goes for a 2-for-1. We inbound it to Natasha Howard. She sees Caitlin
Clark's post-game remarks supply diplomatic understanding into these relationships. Her focus on competing with excellent speed, moving the ball, and cutting hard represents indirect language describing ideal team basketball. Her mention of sensing how we should return out there and compete every single game implies awareness that current rotations prevent consistent execution of effective strategies. Sophie Cunningham's double-double output demonstrates the advantages of highlighting participants whose energy and method align with team goals. Her readiness to pursue loose balls, sustain consistent effort levels, and emphasize team achievement over individual numbers generates positive energy that improves total performance.
Out it to Natasha Howard. She sees Caitlin Clark free. Quick pass to Caitlin Clark. We push the pace, go for a 2-for-1. Neither of those things happened here. Instead, what happened, Natasha Howard looks off Caitlin Clark like she's not even there, and then proceeds to walk the ball up the floor, wasting time. Now, an issue with this, not only in what Natasha Howard is doing, is the fact that
The core challenge demands honest organizational evaluation. Howard provided valuable output during Clark's absence, showing her individual abilities. However, her skill collection and competing style generate chemistry problems when matched with the team's primary star. Winning teams make tough staff choices based on ideal player combinations rather than individual worth alone. Successful coaching response demands direct communication, addressing these behavioral trends. Participants must comprehend that specific methods damage team achievement regardless of individual statistical output. Developing accountability for judgment that opposes team concepts represents vital leadership duty.
Is the fact that Stephanie White has allowed this behavior to occur more times than not, which is why Natasha Howard feels okay doing this. Anybody with some sense, just give it to her. Just give it to CC. Whatever decision, that's the decision I'm cool with. But Natasha Howard decided not to do that. We walked the ball up with absolutely no intensity, no initiative. And by
The answer involves strategic function adjustment rather than complete removal from rotation. Howard can contribute significantly in specific situations while decreasing her influence on Clark-focused offensive schemes. This method maintains her individual contributions while maximizing team chemistry during important possessions. Execution demands courage to make unpopular choices that emphasize winning over politics. Decreasing a veteran participant's minutes in favor of formations that show superior chemistry represents tough but essential coaching decisions. The statistical proof and film study support such choices from both performance and basketball intelligence viewpoints.